You're listening to the Retirement Health Check podcast. I'm Shaun Ganguly, Australia's retirement guy, and in every episode I unpack one real problem, strategy, or mistake that could make or break your retirement. Whether you're over 55 or helping a parent, this is where your retirement roadmap begins. Here's the most common superannuation mistake I hear from people aged over 60. It's that I've just left my super where it is and I haven't touched it because I haven't needed all that money. And that might seem harmless at face value, but usually it's costing them thousands of dollars. And the reason for that is, I'll start with a bit of an explanation of how superannuation works. Now, while you're working for almost everyone, it's in accumulation phase where you're accumulating. You're getting your super contributions from your employer, salary sacrifice, all of that's being paid into your superannuation fund. It's being taxed at 15%. So what that means is for every $100 that gets put into your superannuation account, $15 of that will be taken in tax, $85 will go into the super fund. Now, look, that sounds like a lot, but most people that I come across are paying somewhere between 39 and 47% in tax. So there's quite a lot of savings by putting more money into superannuation. But then the second type of tax that people don't necessarily see is that there's the income tax within the super fund and capital gains with the assets in it going up, whether that's shares or anything else. Now, internally, that's all taxed at 15% also. But what then happens is, once you meet what's called a condition of release, then there's a whole different pension phase. So the way to think about this is that superannuation in accumulation phase, for most people under the age of 60, is think about it like money that's hiding behind plate glass that you can't access. But once you meet a condition of release, you've now got access to that. And there's two main conditions of release that I see. The first one is hitting the age of 60 and ceasing an employment arrangement. And the second one is hitting the age of 65, regardless of whether you're still working full-time or you've retired. Once you've hit 65, you've got what they call unrestricted, non-preserved access to your superannuation. And that's when you can flick it into pension phase. And this is where pension phase is completely different. All the tax on the earnings, the interest, the capital gains, it's all taxed at 0%. So you get to hold on to every little bit of money that's in there. The reason this is really important, if you've got things like shares, managed funds, franking credits, whether that's Australian super balanced, that if you had, let's just say, and I'm going to make up some numbers, if you had $1 million sitting in superannuation, then if you earn $50,000 in earnings, which, look, realistically, the interest rates are about 5% at the moment. So I've gone really conservative, but if you've earned 5%, then what that means is that you've now earned $50,000 worth of earnings. Sitting in accumulation phase, 5% of that is about $7,500 that you've paid to the taxman. If it was sitting in pension phase, you would get the whole thing. You'd pay 0% tax. And the kicker here is that I'll talk about pension phase, but no one's going to tell you this, and you probably won't see it front and center unless you really look at your superannuation statements with an eagle eye like we do. So why wouldn't everyone put all of their money in pension phase, and what's the catch? The first one is that there's a certain percentage that you actually have to draw down from your pension, and once your superannuation, you flick it over into pension phase once you've met a condition of release, and typically it's over 4-5%, and it gradually goes up as you get older and older with age. So you have to pull that money out of superannuation, and there's a cap. Currently, it's called a transfer balance cap. You're only allowed to hold $1.9 million per person, earning that magical 0% tax, because otherwise, and this is back in the day, people used to have these super balances worth tens of millions of dollars. And that's at the highest end, obviously, but all earning 0% tax. That's why rich people want to put as much money into superannuation as possible. It's just a massive waste when sometimes it stays sitting in accumulation phase. So even if you're working, there's a lot of different things that we can do. But the problem is that most people just have got no idea about what to do with their superannuation, what to look out for, how much tax they're paying, and what they could do differently to basically pay a whole lot less tax and hold on to more of their money. Some of the heartbreaking examples I've seen, I saw a higher net worth couple, and the only reason they had millions of dollars, it was about $6 million between them. the only reason I reviewed it was that the only reason advice was sought was it was one of their children. It was the mother who was going into aged care. So they needed to restructure, look at what they needed to do. And then they came and saw me. And that was when I realized, why is this all sitting in accumulation phase? You're paying way more tax than you have to. And they just had no idea. And I see this all the time with even full-time working people at 65, where they're just not quite sure exactly how to structure things. So that's the kind of thing that we flag very early on in our retirement health check. But it's one of the biggest mistakes and so now I've explained the difference between accumulation phase, conditions of retire. That's the end of it. So accumulation phase, conditions of release, and how pension phase works. If this episode gave you clarity and you're ready to make confident retirement decisions, just click the link in the description to take the next step.